Welcome to the Real Short Box. I am Donald.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Jerry.
And today we're going to be talking about female characters in comic books. It's just going to be our opinions based on our picks of strong, really awesome female characters in comic books. So, who would like to go first today?
I'll take it.
Go for it.
All right. I'm going modern. So I have two daughters, if you don't know. Young, 7 and 5. And my oldest daughter is really into comic books because I forced her to be. At gunpoint. No. But she really likes comic books. And because of that, I really wanted her to get into as many strong female characters as I could find. Because I don't want to just be, it's very... When I was growing up, it was very male-dominated.
Oh, yeah.
And even if you asked me, like, my top 5 characters, none of them would be female, yet I had favorite female characters. I just didn't even think of them.
Right.
Because I'm a sexist asshole, apparently. But I wanted to get my daughters into strong female characters, and I started noticing, specifically Marvel these days, currently, a lot of their characters are female, and it's really cool. Or they're from different races, or they're different walks of life, and I think that's really cool. I'm actually very impressed with Marvel, their new generation of characters right now. And one of the ones that I was very taken with was my number one on my list, Miss Marvel Kamala Khan, the current Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel Kamala Khan, she is a high school student. She is a Pakistani American. She's Muslim. She is also Inhuman. She finds out she has the Inhuman gene by just inhaling that Terrigen cloud.
They keep pushing this Inhuman thing.
They really do. The thing is, I'm digging it. I hate to say it. I know it's completely financially backed. Like, I know it's completely like, we don't have it's Marvel going, we don't have money in the X-Men.
Right.
Let's make Inhumans mutants.
Promoters, baby.
Yeah. But it works is the sad thing. It actually works.
Really?
They're not getting rid of the X-Men. I do disagree with what they did with the Fantastic Four.
That's a tragedy.
That's just ridiculous.
That's like your first
You don't just stop doing a series of Fantastic Four because you don't have a financial movie basis in them. You still have a comic book. Write the comic book, write it good, and make it good. Make it great.
Yes.
Make Fantastic Four great again.
Yeah. And exactly.
Jeez.
Oh, Lord. Grab Human Torch by the pussy. But why I love Miss Marvel so much is I just started reading her on a whim. I was like, oh, here's a cool young female character that, I can get my daughter into. And you know what? I'll check her out too because I don't know what this character's about at all. And she's awesome. She's got she's just got cool powers. She's got she's like we talked in another podcast about how cool Plastic Man is. Mm-hmm. She's pretty much Plastic Man in Marvel. She's got complete control over her body. She can grow in size. She can shrink. She can shapeshift to look like other people.
Really?
Yeah. The cool thing is she does this thing that's just like, that's what I would do if I was a superhero. She makes big hands a lot and punches people. I was like, I would if I was a shapeshifter, I'd be like, yep, big hand, sucker, and just fucking throw it at some dude. Like, it's awesome.
Right.
She's smart as herself. She didn't have like super intelligence. She's just smart. She's an intelligent woman, young woman. She's got a loving family, and it's a really good peek into what a Muslim American family would look like, which I think is amazing because I don't know anything about that, and it's very relevant to these times we're in with this.
I live next door to one.
There you go.
There you go.
And to find out, to make it just about her and her family and a human being is awesome. And then you throw in the superhero stuff, and it's so in the vein of early Spider-Man, of like a girl in high school gets crazy powers. She's just finding out about herself. She's also dealing with, I'm a superhero now. Mm-hmm. She's a fan of superheroes. Obviously, Miss Marvel was her, and I say was because if you're reading the current her issues, she's got some problems with her
whole Civil War thing.
Yeah, the whole Civil War thing kind of messed her up with Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, who I love as well. So yeah, basically.
Got a lovely dog too.
Oh yeah, great. Oh yeah, and she walks Lockjaw around. She's got
That's awesome.
Yeah, her whole like a relationship with the Inhumans is awesome. They're like, yeah, well, you're one of us, but like go live your life, and it's such a cool, refreshing, fun story, and like very well written. It's so old school comic book to me that you know what they're also doing a lot in Marvel right now is the whole like editor's note. Remember they totally abandoned that for a while, like see this issue, see that. They're going back to that, and they're also going back to the continuity of like this character. You know, she becomes a member of she starts the team, the Champions, and so she'll show up in or like Cyclops will show up in Humans vs. X-Men, and they know each other.
Not anymore.
You know, Amadeus Cho and all this stuff. Well, no, the young Cyclops.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So Nova's got a series, and he'll have, you know, her in it and stuff like that. It's just it's a cool. So she's a cool character, great strong female character, great human character, and awesome powers, shrinking, embiggening as she calls it. It's awesome. So yeah, Miss Marvel is the first on my list.
So when she gets in trouble, does her mom yell, "Con"?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
But her mom, spoilers, finds out about her identity, and she's like, "Yeah, I knew the whole time." So it kind of takes the whole Aunt May thing away.
Yeah.
But she's like, "Yeah, I knew the whole time. Just go do what you got to do, but be my daughter still."
You're a rubber girl. You're fine.
Yeah,
Bullets
go.
bounce off you.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna go around the table here, and since I'm next to you,
That's true.
I will go next and say that my first choice on the top 5 women would be a little different.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Amanda Waller.
Who I'm jealous of. I wish I would have picked her because I fucking love Amanda Waller.
Amanda Waller makes me hard.
Well, I
what?
I didn't
What?
go that route. I just
What?
said I
No,
liked her as a character.
Yeah, sexually like a character. Yeah. So Amanda Waller, I don't know how much we all know about her history, but she is defined as a widow who escaped a housing project with her surviving family after one of her sons, one of her daughters, and her husband were murdered.
It goes even in more depth. I remember if you read the Ostrander Suicide Squad stuff, like she's got a tragic upbringing.
Right.
Like it's horrible.
Like the worst.
Yeah.
Besides all of that tragedy, she eventually obtained a doctorate in political science and became a congressional aide, which is amazing to, you know, have all that tragedy and be from that, you know, level of I would imagine, poverty.
And she's an older African American.
Right. She, during that time of her being a congressional aide, she discovered the existence of the first 2 incarnations of the Suicide Squad. She took elements from both of those, and she proposed the development of a 3rd incarnation to the White House. And upon that proposal, she was placed in charge of the Suicide Squad.
Task Force X, baby.
Task Force X, correct. Now, Waller differs from Kamala Khan quite a bit.
Yeah.
Amanda Waller is not necessarily a nice woman.
Not at all.
She has a goal, and if that goal is not met, there will be repercussions. And most of the time, 99.9% of the time, that goal is met, whether or not someone's head is exploded. That's remains to be seen. She was in charge of the 3rd, as I said, Suicide Squad, but it was quite controversial. Despite many successes, she developed a habit of defying superiors in Washington. It was in order to achieve goals both legitimate and personal. So she made it personal, which is never a good thing when you're dealing with, I guess, superpowers. The earliest conflict between her and her supervisors revolved around the leadership of the Suicide Squad. She proposed Bronze Tiger be the leader of the Suicide Squad.
Right.
And that was not to the government's liking. They recommended Rick Flag Jr., which was the son of the original Rick Flag, of course. And he was made the leader of the Suicide Squad. So Waller kind of resented that because she saw it being as racially charged.
Right.
Coming from, you know, the background she's from, and she sees a, you know, strong black man such as Bronze Tiger get overlooked for a young, strong white man.
Yeah.
You know, I can understand how that would happen. So we already have in place a woman of a different ethnic background being looked over and treated poorly in her life, seeing someone else being looked over and treated poorly. And you create this kind of a snowball effect with her in her role as the leader of the Suicide Squad, or Task Force X. But Bronze Tiger, he kind of saw this a little differently. He was like, hey, I know it's because I was brainwashed at some point by the League of Assassins, and maybe that's not all gone from me, so it probably is best that Rick Flag Jr. lead.
If I
the
put
Suicide
on that
Squad.
tiger mask, I get angry. Yeah.
Right. So most of the team's criminal members, they didn't really take to Waller at all. Most notably would be Captain Boomerang, who really
They had
did
an
not.
awesome relationship. I literally mean that. It was awesome. It was fun to read.
Right. Yeah.
they just-
Ostrander.
Yeah.
And this is in the third or second incarnation. I think it was the second incarnation of the Suicide Squad. Ostrander wrote the shit out of this, and I know
God,
we've
so good.
talked about it, but just the fact that he wrote these characters so well in the camaraderie and the battles that Boomerang and Waller had when it came to him just wanting to do whatever he wanted.
Boomerang and everybody hated Boomerang in their own individual way, which is great.
Right. But a lot of the villains and criminals didn't like her, and a lot of the heroes either, because she placed charges in the necks of them that she would blow if they disobeyed her. She would say, hey, Captain Boomerang, do what I say, or I will explode your head. So naturally, that would create some dissension in the team and some hard feelings. Even some of the heroes were at odds with Waller and her inability to deal with compromise.
Because she was all about like means to an end, like, whatever we got to do to complete the mission. Yeah.
No matter what happens, my way or the highway.
Yeah.
So a character named Nemesis, who was a master of disguise, he departed from the team early. There was a U.S. senator that was killed. Even Rick Flag Jr. himself, spoilers, was killed. She even butted heads often with Batman, who opposed the forming of the Suicide Squad, although he did kind of later help reform it. And
there's that great issue where Batman is like, I know about the squad. And she goes, yeah, well, I think I can figure out who you are under the cowl. And he's like, all right, stalemate, peace.
Yeah. So she kind of had this way. She was a master manipulator, in other words. She was really good at her job. She did keep some heroes around. For example, Nightshade. And it was later revealed that she kept these heroes around. They didn't have the charges in their necks.
Right.
They just, she would ask them to do favors for the government and blah, blah, blah. But she kept them around as kind of a way to act as her conscience. The fact that she needed somebody to question her morality because she was so gray.
To keep her in check, yeah.
So gray. She needed somebody in the clear that had a straight and narrow form of morality to tell her, hey, not necessarily the best way to go. So for me, Amanda Waller is a great character because of her gray ambiguity and because of the fact that, along with her gray ambiguity, the fact that she wouldn't take no for an answer and she always found a means to an end. She's just a very strong African-American, very strong ethnic character that you really needed to see more of at that time.
Right.
And I'm so glad that she's back in the comics. She's really popular again. And
She's getting her due.
Right, she's getting her due. She's somebody that
She stood the test of time, for sure.
everybody pretty much should know about, and if they don't, they will.
Yeah.
So that's my first choice.
So Suicide Squad movie, you certainly would do.
Yes, absolutely.
And by the way, do you think her and Nick Fury would make a good couple?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if they don't kill each other
Yeah,
first.
I don't know. Kevin?
All right.
Kevin?
What I'm going with is Batwoman, and the Bat version of Batwoman I'm going with is the one that was written by J.H. Williams. I'm sorry, drawn by J.H. Williams and written by W. Hayden Blackman, and that goes back to the New 52.
Was this the redhead?
Yes, the redhead,
Oh,
Catherine Kane.
okay.
The red wigged.
Yeah,
Was
red
it a red?
wig.
Was it a wig?
Yeah, it was definitely a wig, yeah.
Yeah, I like her. I mean, she's a very strong female character. She went through a lot in her life, a lot of family trauma. Her dad's a colonel, in the army, and she got kicked out of the military for having a lesbian relationship.
Ooh la la.
That's right. I don't want to spoil anything from your thing, but wasn't she with the female Question for a while, right? Yes?
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah?
Yeah, Montoya, right?
Renee Montoya.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And, she is someone who could actually put up with Batman. You know, Batman can sometimes intimidate his fellow associates. Mm-hmm. She'll get in Batman's face and won't tolerate it. She does her thing.
Yeah, they had an interesting relationship.
They had a very interesting relationship. You know, she is very independent.
Right.
You know, she does her thing. You know, she is someone who's just a very tough, strong lady, has her own equipment, doesn't need Batman's. You know, usually the other people in Batman's crew kind of needs his equipment. Mm-hmm. She doesn't depend on Bruce Wayne's equipment. She has her own stuff. You know, she has her own, high-tech equipment and weapons, has her own, motorcycle. Mm-hmm. So I like that. And she's also a skilled martial artist in her own right. She's also a skilled detective. You know, maybe not as skilled as Bruce is because Bruce has more experience, but she is good enough. She gets the job done. So that's my thing with Batwoman. I really appreciate the way she was written, at least in that new 52 version. I'm not familiar with any of the older versions from like the 50s or 60s
yeah,
or 70s.
Is she still current? I mean, is she in the Rebirth? And
she's very prevalent in the Detective Comics series currently going on.
Oh, cool.
In fact, she's second to none with Batman. Batman actually said, if I can't be around to lead, you are second in command.
Oh,
there
cool.
you go.
Over
Dick Grayson.
Of course. Over Tim Drake.
Yep.
Over Barbara Gordon. Over everybody else.
Some feelings are hurt there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Dick Grayson must be really pissed.
I mean, if I was Dick Grayson, I'd be like, fuck you, Batman.
Well, that was like when he got his back broken and John Paul, Azrael took over Batman, like, right away. Like, that was kind of like, wait.
What about me, Bruce?
Yeah,
what about me?
Hey, dude.
Well, Dick, I didn't want to say this, but, you're kind of not what I'm looking for. I would be so pissed.
All right. Well, for my second pick, I'm gonna go old school, whereas I went new school before. The classic, the ever-loving, sensational She-Hulk.
Okay.
Nice.
I fucking love She-Hulk. I was introduced to She-Hulk as a kid watching the Incredible Hulk 1980s cartoon that came on after Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and there was a great She-Hulk issue. Oh, I love it.
I'm showing him an issue. I just picked up the sensational She-Hulk issue 37, where it says the Wolverine, Punisher, and Spider-Man starring on this issue. And then underneath it has the She-Hulk, and she's kind of whispering, and she says, but you'll notice nothing is said about them actually being in this issue. Very clever marketing.
She-Hulk is the shit. So like I said, I was introduced to her in this Incredible Hulk cartoon where not only do you get her origin, you get the Hulk and Rick Jones meeting up with She-Hulk in Los Angeles. And it's fun to go back and watch it after living in Los Angeles for so long, because they're like walking around Hollywood Boulevard, and he's like, Hollywood Boulevard's kind of boring to Rick Jones to Bruce Banner. It's just fun, but it's got Hydra in it. It was just a cool thing, and it really showcased She-Hulk as a badass. And one of the first things I remember about She-Hulk was I was like, she can turn... She's the Hulk with their brains, and she's confident, and she's a lawyer. She's an attorney. She's Jennifer Walters, right, when she's not She-Hulk. And She-Hulk, to me, is just the epitome of fun comics. Especially, the 80s. I guess she was late 70s, too, I think. But just fun, a strong character, super fun. She was an Avenger. She was in the Fantastic Four. She was everywhere. And... she had her own series. I like that she was based in Los Angeles. I just thought that was kind of funny. It's
Bruce's cousin.
Bruce's cousin, that's right. She was all about fun. She didn't take herself too seriously, and she didn't take shit.
She smiled a lot too.
She smiled a lot. She was having a good time.
Like while her cousin's just a very pissed off Bruce.
Yeah,
she's just having fun with it.
Yeah, polar opposite. And also, I think also because she was like, well, I can just turn into She-Hulk whenever I want to.
True.
And that was another thing too, which is kind of like a Captain Marvel, the Shazam Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. Like, if I could just be this super strong being, why would I turn back into just a normal person? So she stays She-Hulk pretty much all the time. I mean, I haven't read like the complete history. I don't know if she got trapped that way or whatever, if they've gone back and forth. But as far as I know, she just chooses to stay that way. To me, it's like if I was Billy Batson, I guess unless you had like some friends that were kids and all that, I'd just be like, well, I'm just going to stay as Captain Marvel because I'm at my strongest and most awesome.
Right.
So, yeah.
Does She-Hulk have any notable boyfriends?
Star Fox kind of wooed her for a little bit, right?
Yeah, and I think she like had a one-night stand with Juggernaut. There was like...
You don't say?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Now must have been very interesting.
She had a fun dynamic with Hawkeye in the Avengers when they were both in the Avengers team. Because he would get under her skin, but also like he knew that she could kick his ass, and she knew she could kick his ass. No, She-Hulk's awesome, and I think you could even YouTube the Hulk cartoon I'm talking about. It's just fun. It's like it shows her origin. She got a blood transfusion from Bruce, which, dude, of course something's gonna go wrong, and that's how she gets her powers. And Hydra was in it, and it was just fun. It's a good. Oh, and the evil thing that Hydra is developing is to control the Los Angeles smog.
Wow.
And they can have the smog like grab people and take them places. It's brilliant.
It's kind of creepy.
So yeah, She-Hulk is my number 2.
I like her because the way she's drawn, like I remember from the '90s, she was some kind of a swimsuit model or something. You know?
Yeah, she was beautiful, confident, tall. Yeah, she
green,
was
very green.
Yeah, very fun. She was that comic was great fun. I mean, oftentimes Spider-Man, Howard the Duck guest starred, I believe, in it. It was just a fun series.
And then didn't like the 80s, 90s, or no, the 90s one was kind of almost Deadpool-esque, where she was like breaking fourth wall and stuff like that too. I think.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at this cover, she's talking to you right on the cover.
Yeah.
But you'll notice that, nothing is said about them actually being in the issue.
Right.
You're like, oh, okay, you're hilarious, She-Hulk.
You jokers.
Right. So I'm gonna go ahead with my second. I chose Oracle. Now, for those of you that do not know Oracle is Barbara Gordon, the daughter of Commissioner James Gordon,
Girl.
Barbara Gordon is also Batgirl. Now, officially, they retired the character of Batgirl in the one-shot comic Batgirl Special #1, which was, I think, in 1988, and it was written by Barbara Kessel. They really saw that, I don't think they thought the Batgirl had much of a purpose any longer, so they kind of they retired her. They literally retired the character, which I thought was crazy. And then came the Killing Joke.
I think I've heard of that. That's that one that the Alan Moore kid.
Right, yeah, that little young kid.
Alan Moore teenager kid.
Yeah, with the tiny beard.
Yeah.
He wrote a series called, it was just a one-shot called The Killing Joke. It was a graphic novel. And most of you know the story. The Joker takes it a step too far, finds Barbara Gordon at her home, shoots her in the spine, then takes advantage of her sexually.
With a smile.
Yes, with a smile. He then takes pictures of the event and then captures her father, James Gordon, and shows him the pictures while he's not only naked, but beaten. So, you can only imagine.
In some, like, dark carnival shit.
Right, dark carnival shit taking place. Yeah. You're getting beaten by people dressed as, like, dwarves and, like, crazy devil angel creatures and shit. And you're being showed pictures of your daughter being raped by a masked crazy man.
Right.
So, needless to say, that created kind of an issue for Barbara. And it took her a bit to bounce back. But a little bit of history about this is following the release of that graphic novel, comic book editor and writer Kim Yale discussed how distasteful she found the treatment of Barbara Gordon with her husband, fellow comic writer John Ostrander.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Writer of one of our favorites, Suicide Squad. Right. So rather than allow the character to fall into obscurity, the two decided to revive her as a character living with a disability.
That's right.
And they said, well, how can we do this? What can we do? So they came up with the idea of Oracle. Later, Gail Simone, she would include the character's paralysis in a list of major female characters that had been killed, mutilated, and depowered, dubbing the phenomenon, and we've discussed this, women in refrigerators.
Talking about the Green Lantern.
Right, in reference to the 1994 Green Lantern story where the title character, Kyle Rayner, his girlfriend, was mutilated and shoved into a refrigerator. Needlessly, it was unnecessary. But anyway, they decided to revive the character as Oracle. The character made her first comic book appearance as Oracle in none other than Suicide Squad number 23, anonymously offering her services to the government task force X. In the following 2 years, Oracle, being written by Ostrander and Yale, made guest appearances in various DC comics under her identity, and was eventually revealed to be Barbara Gordon, of course, in Suicide Squad number 38. She officially became a member of the Suicide Squad in issue 48 because she was invited by Amanda Waller, I believe. In 1992, Dennis O'Neil, an amazing writer, he wrote an amazing run on The Question, if you've never read it.
And Green Lantern back in the day.
Absolutely.
And many Batman books.
Yes, definitely look it up. He wrote Oracle as Batman's sole source of information in Batman Sword of Azrael #1.
Oh, okay.
That's where it all started. So basically, this newly forged partnership established Oracle in her status as Batman's intellectual equal. And the rest, as you say, was basically history.
I don't know that. Yeah, I knew that she appeared in that Suicide Squad, but I don't know it was at the behest of Yale and Ostrander. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to, like, you look into these characters, you know, you're like, I really love this character. I need to know a little more about him. And then you find out these little tidbits, and it's kind of, it just makes it all the more sweeter. Kevin, you have somebody?
Yes, my next one is the ex-woman, Storm.
Never heard of her.
Aurora Monroe. To me,
What is her name?
Aurora Monroe.
I thought you said Oral.
Aurora Monroe.
From Egypt. She has
Cairo.
Beautiful, yes, Cairo. Has beautiful white flowing hair. And what I love about Storm, since I was a kid, she was just so gorgeous. And you just see the power emanating.
Gorgeous and powerful,
Yeah, you see the power emanating from her.
My first introduction to her was the X-Men animated series.
I was about to get to that.
The first episode where she went, Storm, mistress of the elements.
Yes.
And I was
That's
like,
actually a
whoa.
good drinking game
Yes.
for X-Men cartoon, the 90s X-Men cartoon. Every time Storm uses her powers and explains what she's doing.
Oh yeah, her incantations.
So drunk.
Reigns! Yeah.
Her incantations were awesome on that TV show, especially when they fought Omega Red. I mean,
She freezes him, right?
She brought it too, boy.
Yeah.
She brought the pain. I mean, she froze that fool.
Which, by the way, I never could figure out how the elements were a mutant power, but hey, you know, whatever.
I mean, she's an Omega level mutant. I mean,
her genes control the elements.
control the elements.
Sure.
Duh.
I mean, Storm.
Silly me.
Storm is like a goddess in every sense of the word.
Kevin's in love.
Oh, I am. She's power.
Whoa, dream weaver.
I mean, she represents power, charisma. She's brave. She's compassionate, and she's a leader.
I was just gonna say she becomes team leader for some.
I think it was Team Leader Blue or Team Leader Gold back in the 90s at one point.
But even before the 90s.
But even before
She
that.
took on the Morlocks or
Where
something.
the Morlocks.
Right?
She
The
ruled the
Morlocks.
Morlocks, and there was, I think it was X-Men 201, where Cyclops was kind of like in and out, and Professor X is like, one of you is going to be team leader, and they fought each other. And I don't even know if she had her power. It was Mohawk Storm.
Yeah, Mohawk Storm.
And she might have won, I think, or something like that. Like, because Cyclops was just being a bitch about something.
Of course.
Cyclops is the bitch.
Surprise.
And that's why I'm a Havoc guy. But,
Me too.
yeah, she became team leader of the X-Men, too, for a bit.
I like Beast.
Beast would be a good leader.
And,
Maybe back to Storm.
And she's had relationships with different characters like Forge, and of course now recently Black Panther, which I believe they're.
And both of those are like really cool relationships.
Oh, they are.
Because
And it makes
Forge is a
sense.
really interesting character, and Black Panther was a really interesting character. Like,
And you know
Both
what's
scientific.
yeah.
And what's interesting about her is she enjoys men that build, men that are thinkers.
Well, I remember that 90s story where Forge proposed to her, and he was like, fine, I know you're going to say no, and he walks away, and it ended, and she's like, but you didn't know. I was going to say yes. It was so like 90s soap opera X-Men, but it was so perfect, too. I was like, aw, you guys could have hooked up.
This would have been perfect.
Yeah.
It would have been perfect.
Wah, wah.
But just imagine that. I mean, can you imagine just having the power to control the weather at will?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought about that. I'm like, my God. I mean, that's some power. I mean, you can control the Earth. The power.
Well, that's why when in that famous Giant Size X-Men 1, when
1975.
when Professor X goes to recruit her, he's like, I know you're... Because she was looked at as a goddess. They thought she was a goddess. And she was, like, treated as a goddess. And why would you want to leave that? And he's like, look, I know my deal's not that great, but I'm offering you something, like, noble and blah, blah, blah. But, like...
And that's one thing I like about her. She's a very noble character.
Oh, extremely, yeah.
Very noble. And she really loves her teammates. I mean, she'll go out to bat for you.
Well, that Morlock story is one of my favorite. One, I love the Morlocks, but that story where she beats Callisto in combat, and she still is like, look, I lead you, but like she can lead you in my stead because I'm not going to be going. I'm not going to these dank, shitty sewers to hang out with you trash mutants. But but I will. I will still lead you.
And she carries a lot of respect. Everyone respects her. Wolverine respects her.
Yeah, that's true.
And Wolverine is not easy to get his respect.
No, that curmudgeon.
So Storm, I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, she's just an awesome character.
All right, we on to the next one?
Yeah.
Next one.
All right, well, I'm going to bring it dark. I'm going to stick with the X-Men theme, but I'm going to get dark.
Okay.
My third is the Black Queen of the Hellfire Club, the original Hellfire Club. Selene.
Oh my goodness.
I love Selene. One, I don't know, maybe it's like the goth part of me, but I always thought she was hot when I was a kid. I was like, oh my god, like, I don't know what I'm into. It was like the little confused Jared at the time, like, why is this woman? Because she was like the White Queen, always wearing lingerie and stuff like that, but she was the Black Queen, and she was all dark and brunette and everything. But, more importantly, she was terrifying, and she kicked ass. She is a psychic vampire. She can just drain people until they're husks, and that's how she stays immortal, from what I believe. And what Kevin was telling me beforehand is that I was saying was Apocalypse the first mutant, and apparently he was saying Selene and then Apocalypse.
Yes.
Which makes sense. Selene is like another, almost in the vein of Storm, considered a goddess. She's had like cults worship her. She's a psychic vampire. She could also, what people don't really remember, is she could animate inanimate objects, which to me is a huge power. That's up there with like a Superman telekinetic.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you something. If she can animate inanimate objects, would a cheeseburger count as an inanimate object? Because at one point it was kind of an animate object.
That I don't know.
Wow.
But the ground underneath the cheeseburger, she could just lift up and have it grab you like a hand and beat your ass.
All right. I'll give you that.
But what I love about her is her staying power. She's a survivor. Before she was even in the Hellfire Club, her first appearance was in an early New Mutants where she was like worshipped as a goddess, and she was trying to control the mutant magma to use her for her own means and her own like death cult or whatever she was a part of. Then she joins the Hellfire Club because she's like, well, this will give me power and influence. And then after the Hellfire Club, she was the one we've talked about in a team I want to get more into eventually because I think they just never got their due. But the Upstarts were the descendants of the Hellfire Club. And they had this contest to see who could kill the most mutants for the most points, and whoever won became the leader of all the other Upstarts. And we find out Selene was behind that all. So she's just... And then a really good story was the... oh god, what is it called? The oh my god, she pretty much reanimates all of Genosha.
Oh yes.
All the dead people in Genosha, and she just completely like revives the dead, and Necrosha. She calls it Necrosha. There we go. So Selene is just such an evil, badass character. I still think she needs to get more due. Like I still think. She's just so powerful.
She plays chess, let me tell you.
She's definitely she's the ultimate chess player. She's evil, powerful, and sexy. And I love her.
Ooh la la.
And by the way, Ensa Banor definitely respects her.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's supposed to... Remember in the 90s, they created the Externals? Mm-hmm. They're like the immortal mutants, and I think Apocalypse is one.
And Gideon might have been one.
Gideon. And she killed a whole bunch of them because she was like, you know what? If we're like the oldest mutants, if I just drain you guys, like I'll be one of the oldest mutants left, and I'll also have your energy and power. She killed like almost all of them.
Damn.
She killed Gideon. She killed a whole bunch of them.
Not a nice lady.
Oh, she's a bitch. Yeah, she's a bitch.
But you love her.
But I do love her.
Kevin wants to date her.
Yeah.
He likes the
I would
bad
let her
girls.
drain my energy until I was a dust husk. Yeah.
Awkward. All right, so I'm gonna go with something that someone I've talked with about quite a bit. As most of you should already know by now, I'm a big Eclipse Comics fan. I'm a big fan of Airboy in general. Hillman Periodicals created Airboy. They created Airfighter Comics, which spawned Airboy. It was published originally in 1942, and from there was created the original femme fatale Valkyrie. Now, Valkyrie is the culmination of you can't have this beauty of like just somebody that is so
The girl you couldn't have.
so sexy and so attractive yet so dark.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that you couldn't do it.
Right.
You just couldn't. I mean, you'd want to, but you just couldn't.
She'll hurt me.
Right. So Davy Nelson, aka Airboy, Valkyrie was his most frequently reoccurring supporting character. She was a German aviator who fought on the side of the Axis party, of the Axis.
Nazi!
Yeah, so basically she was a Nazi. What happened was, though, is she fell in love with Davy Nelson, the original
Even a
Airboy.
Nazi can love.
Right. Even a Nazi can love. And, by the way, this was written in the 40s. I must stress this.
So it's of the times. Yeah.
Right. To write a book about a Nazi defecting and falling in love with an American.
It's pretty bold shit.
Pretty bold shit, yeah, because...
Controversial.
Yeah.
Well, once a Nazi, always a Nazi.
Yeah.
You've got to die, you
Yeah.
know? Wasn't the way they wrote her. They wrote her as a beautiful, strong, powerful woman that said, I will choose my own destiny, and I choose him, and I choose what he's willing to fight for.
Yeah, that's pretty bold.
And what he's willing to... And in the 40s, to have a strong woman like this say, what he's willing to fight for, I'm willing to fight for. I'm my own woman, but I'm going to be with this man, and I am leaving this whole group of really serious, strong characters, the Nazis, to go fight with the Allies, to go fight
One
with the
other woman
Americans.
character outfit I was kind of up there with that who was independent. That'd be Wonder Woman.
Right. Yeah, put her on par with Wonder Woman, but without all the powers.
Right.
Keep that in mind. Eventually what happened was, a lot of the Nazis and everything was defeated and stuff. But then in the 80s, Eclipse Comics, written by the ever-genius Chuck Dixon. And Chuck Dixon, of course, I love you.
Check out our Eclipse podcast where we talk specifically about the rise of Eclipse and everything
Exactly.
in between.
And my undying love for Chuck Dixon.
Yes.
But he brought back Airboy in the 80s, and he created a character named Davy Nelson Jr., which, of course, is the son of Davy Nelson.
Right.
Davy Nelson dies. Davy Nelson Jr. takes over the throne, realizes about Birdie, the airplane that could flap its wings and has special powers and all this, and learns about the Heap, which was, if I recall, created before any of the others. Before Man-Thing, before Swamp Thing.
Oh, he was a muck creature?
There was the Heap. He was a muck creature.
The Heap.
A swamp creature that
cool.
had powers and would fight with the Allies.
That's cool.
And so Davy Nelson Jr. joined up with the Heap. Basically what happened was there was a character named Misery who was a big villain and a big opponent of Davy Nelson and Davy Nelson Jr. And he had brought Valkyrie out of suspended animation. He had her frozen, basically, from the 40s and brought her back out into the 80s time, so to speak, 70s probably, and brought her back out and was like, go fight Davy Nelson Jr. Well, you bring a lady out to fight a man that's the son of a man she's in love with, what's going to happen? She fell in love with the son.
Right.
So, again, she defects. She fights against Misery, and she joins Davy Nelson Jr. in his fight to destroy Misery, and it runs for 50 issues through Eclipse Comics. But, she was just hooked on the morals of the character of Davy Nelson Jr., his principles. Valkyrie's smart, she's sexy, she's deadly, and she's a favorite of many hardcore comic fans.
Right.
So anybody wanting to check out Valkyrie, I highly recommend the 80s run of Airboy from Eclipse Comics. It's super cheap to pick up, guys. You can get a run of every single issue for probably like $30, and that's 50 issues. It's not that expensive. I highly recommend it. It's got a lot of adventure, a lot of suspense, a lot of mystery, a lot of science fiction. It's just really, really good stuff, and that's my idea here for Valkyrie and why I chose her.
Kevin, number 3 on your list?
Number 3 is a very popular person known as the Catwoman, Selena Kyle.
Ooh.
I've heard a tale or two. A cat's tale.
A cat's tale. And just basically, she is someone who I consider like a gray character. Mm-hmm.
She did wear gray.
She did wear gray. Sometimes she's doing good things, and sometimes she's doing bad things. Sometimes she's hanging out with the Joker. Sometimes she's kissing up on some Batman.
Mm-hmm.
She's currently in the current Batman run. I believe she's accused of killing like over 100 or 200 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, that way she crossed to the dark side in that realm.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
But what's cool about her, she's famous for, being like a cat burglar and being very crafty. And what I like about...
Oh, does she work with like wicker baskets or...
Hey, I'm sure she could.
She's big into yarn. Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Funny.
Hey. But, a woman like this, I love her athleticism. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing athleticism, especially when she takes on opponents.
She's a fun character. I actually got really into her in the No Man's Land series. I thought whoever was writing that series was really good, and
I think Chuck Dixon made
Chuck
hand
Dixon?
in that
Yeah.
at some point. Yeah,
And I like the purple outfit. Then maybe.
You're into that?
Yeah.
By the way, who's your favorite Catwoman from the TV shows, or even from the movies for that matter?
animated series.
Animated. Yeah,
Animated
it's
series.
always going to be Batman animated series.
Oh, so nothing for a Julie Newmar or an Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt. I mean, Eartha Kitt, beautiful woman, and she brought back that. Yeah, Eartha Kitt definitely.
If you go
hands
live
down.
action,
Michelle Pfeiffer,
I'll
of
go
course.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
You can't go wrong there either.
I think
Especially
Michelle
that
Pfeiffer nailed it.
That famous scene in Batman Returns where she just licks.
Oh my God.
I was like, wow.
I was at that age too. That worked.
Yeah,
for me.
that was
I was
definitely.
I went home. I didn't come out of my bedroom for like 2 days.
I think they actually were dating around that time too. So Batman and Catwoman were officially dating at that time.
Wow. Well, I guess they had to really get into the character.
Yeah.
And each other.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, you only get 9 lives, guys. Oh my God.
But Catwoman is a very interesting because the fact that along with Talia Ghul, she just has something for Bruce, and Bruce just can't get her out of his mind. No matter what she does, no matter how bad she is, he can't resist.
Well, she doesn't change who she is.
Yeah, she can't change who she is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Bruce, he understands, but he's like, man, I just can't get over her. I mean, I have to lock her up, throw her in, whatever, into Arkham, but it doesn't matter. I still have something for this girl.
Mm-hmm. Right. Still got a giant bat boner.
It's kind of like the one that can't get away.
Yeah.
Or the one that won't go away.
It's a little bit of both. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, number 4 on my list is the deadly, the strong, the enigmatic Michonne from Walking Dead.
Very good choice.
And I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read. I'm about as caught up on Walking Dead, the book. I don't watch the show. I'm just gonna be honest, because I don't care for it. I'm just gonna be honest. But I love the book. But on the book, I'm at the All Out War still. I've stopped there.
In the comic, her and Rick or in the show, her and Rick bone, right?
I think I do. Yeah. I keep track of it. But when you're first introduced to her in the books, she's got a samurai sword and 2 slave zombies she's keeping with her.
Yep.
And she's just right off the bat, right out of the gate, a badass. And you're used to seeing all these hardcore men like Rick and Tyrese, and it's a very male dominated or protected society. Mm-hmm. And then you've got this girl just coming in by herself, and they're like, "Who the fuck is she?" And she's just samurai decapitating zombies like it's no one's business. She's got kind of a hint of mystery to her.
Kind of a Ronin kind of thing.
A very Ronin thing.
And a seductress, too, if you remember that thing with Tyrese.
When with Tyrese, she becomes a seductress. But you could always tell, very transparent, that she's got issues, big time. And what really sold her for me, and what was actually one of the hardest comic stories to read, and yet very, very good, was the, what was his name? The
Governor?
The Governor.
Oh, yeah.
The Governor stories in Walking Dead, when the Governor takes Rick and her captive and repeatedly rapes her.
Yeah, they glaze over this in the show.
For obvious reasons.
Right.
Yeah, I was really wondering. Actually, when I heard that they glazed over it in the show, I was kind of bummed because I was like, that is what makes that character what you really get, because it's this strong woman being defiled by this piece of shit. And I remember it was so hard to read those books. So I was like, oh my God. The one thing many things Kirkman does, but one of the good things Kirkman does in his writing is he can get you to hate somebody. And you're just please seek vengeance. Mm-hmm. Negan is obviously the pinnacle of that, I think. But the Governor before that was the pinnacle for me, because this guy was such a piece of shit. He hacks off Rick's hand in the very first meeting, and then repeatedly rapes Michonne, and makes no bones about it. You're just this guy's a piece of shit. Please kill him. And then in your head, in your sick, twisted world, you're please kill him viciously. And you know what happens? He is killed viciously to the point where it's kind of sickening. And Michonne finally escapes. She finds out, what was it? The Governor had his daughter that was a zombie chained to a radiator or something like that. Yeah. she kills the daughter, waits for him to come back, from what I remember, and just, it's like no, completely uncensored, no holds barred, like 3 pages of torture. Which, in one sense, you're like, I want to see this because this guy deserves it. And then, and this is just great writing and great art.
Kirkman, yeah.
Great writing, great art.
You feel a little bad for him.
You feel bad. Well, no, because you see, it's just like, this is going, like, this is somebody's humanity completely being taken away. And even, I think the character, like, throws up at one point of, like, the viciousness that she's inflicting on this guy. And it's so well done. At the same time, it's also just so, like, would I do that in that situation? Probably. Like, I would be that pissed. You know, like, it's just so well done. And she's such a strong character. And obviously she goes on to evolve.
She kind of goes, I spit on your grave.
Huh? Oh, completely I spit on your grave. But in, like, one just hardcore, oh, man. But, no, she's such a cool character, such a strong character. And, like, right out of the gate, badass. So, yeah, Michonne is my number 4.
Nice. Good choice. Good choice on Michonne.
Thank you.
I like her character. I'm to piggyback off Kevin. I'm going to go with my my 4th choice is going to be Talia Ghul.
Oh wow! I didn't know you had her.
Yeah,
very nice.
This character, she was created by. It was inspired by James Bond, really, on Her Majesty's Secret Service and Fu Manchu fiction.
Really?
Actually, yeah. The character first appeared in Detective Comics number 411, which came out in the 70s. She's most commonly depicted as a romantic interest for Batman. She's also depicted as a villain, or a combination of the two.
Right.
Her father, Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, depending on how you pronounce it.
Potato, Ra's, Rosh.
Right. He considered Batman to be the man most worthy to marry his daughter and become his successor. Mm-hmm. So he constantly was wanting his daughter to bump uglies with Batman.
And she's beautiful. And
right.
Smart and everything.
She is beautiful. She is smart. She is a tactician. If it was chess versus checkers, she is just as much chess as Batman.
Oh yeah.
She's considered to be as an heir to her father and his organization. Batman, of course, was uninterested in the criminal empire, but he often demonstrated kind of some romantic feelings for Talia. So they had this, kind of a Catwoman thing. Selina that he had with Selina, he had with Talia as well. She saved the life of him, of Bruce, of Batman, many times. Helped him on many occasions. The majority of her criminal acts were on the behest of her father, and motivated by her loyalty for him. So basically, she was like, "I'm doing bad things because Daddy asked me to."
Also, she's respectful of his identity.
Right. Yes. She's never told anybody. Neither is Ra's. Yeah.
Right. She's one of the 47 people who know.
Right.
Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Yeah. She's often been, like, in more recent depictions, she's been seen more of an enemy, and I think the movie has a lot to do with that.
Right.
But she's led the League of Assassins. She's part of a secret society of supervillains, and she's just an all-around badass character.
Right.
She's always plotting.
Right. She's always plotting. She's always scheming. She's always trying to get in Batman's pants.
Right.
And I love her for it. I love the character. I love the villainous of her. I love the way she acts. I love the way she thinks. And I think making a strong character like that thinks what she wants and does what she wants, but still respects, and this is going to sound weird, respects her father, is kind of a cool thing. I'm not necessarily saying little girls go out and do whatever your dad says.
Unless you're
every
my
time.
daughters, you better listen to me, girls.
But for the most part, she's got it down. She's a cool villainous chick that walks the gray yet again, and I really appreciate her character.
And also, can't forget they have a child together.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's true. Damien.
Yes.
In later incarnations, they had a character, a child together named Damien, who became the new Robin. So that's very important.
Omen. Oh wait, wrong Damien.
Yeah,
sorry.
wrong Damien. Yeah, definitely.
That'll do it for us. I'm Jarrett.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Donald.
Subscribe, love it, share it, check out the YouTube channel, and we'll see you at the comic shop.